NASA, you probably think space, rockets, astronauts, but it's also home to the largest group of Earth scientists in the world.
Sara Maslar-Donar sat down with a senior scientist on this 53rd anniversary of Earth Day to discuss critical global changes that NASA is tracking.
NASA has more than 25 satellites in orbit, and they're all tracking changes from air quality to extreme weather patterns. Joining me now from the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland is Liz Hoy, a NASA senior scientist. Liz, thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Thanks so much for having me today. I'm so excited.
So let's get into it. Speaking of extreme weather patterns, right, we've seen a lot of it recently, that monumental snowfall in California. So Liz, how are these bizarre weather patterns informing our thinking about climate change?
You know, when people think about climate change, often they think about, oh, it's just going to be warmer everywhere. But that's not really what we actually see. What we see is that we're going to have more variable weather, more extreme weather patterns, and they're going to show up at different places and at different times. Like some of the extreme events you mentioned. We also see hurricanes when they happen. They might be more intense with more rainfall. Wildfires might start earlier in the growing season, last longer, be more intense, burn a larger area. So we're just seeing that there are these extreme weather patterns, and we didn't used to have it this way.
So how does NASA use the data that it gathers on all of these things to help communities cope with the challenges of extreme weather patterns?
You know, this is one of the reasons I love working for NASA, because we're trying to collect these really exciting data sets, but we're also trying to make sure that they get to the communities that need them. And so one example is with wildfires. So we actually have some satellites that help detect wildfires, and then we can get that information very quickly to land managers. You can actually get a text on your cell phone if you're a land manager notifying you that a fire has occurred in your region. So you can quickly get crews out or manage the fire however you need. And so we're really trying to make sure that community members are getting that information very quickly.
It's great to see, data being put to real life use, and it's always awesome to, even get that example of how it can help us. Liz, also, where can our viewers go if they want to learn more about the Earth, what NASA does to track changes or help communities?
Yeah, NASA set up a website, nasa.gov/Earth, where you can find a lot of different resources about Earth Day or for Earth Day. We have some webinars, some interviews with astronauts, some activities that we can do with family or with kids. So I'm certainly looking at it with my own kids.
And I have one last question for you, Liz. With it being Earth Day today, can you tell me maybe something unique NASA has learned about our planet?
You know, I think what's really interesting and what I'm really excited about is understanding what's happening in Arctic regions. That's the area that I study most often. I get to go to Alaska and I take measurements in the soil. And I'm really encouraged by all that we're learning about how the climate is changing the environment in Alaska. We're learning more about what's happening so that we can then help communities to figure out what to do about it. So we are seeing permafrost thawing. We're seeing fire events become more extreme or happen more often, but we're thinking about it together in a way that can help us hopefully move forward.
Well, Liz, thank you so much for being with us to celebrate Earth Day today. Really appreciate the time.
Thanks so much for having me.